let us dive further into what exactly is GATE. Let's try and understand it better so that when you're giving the exam, it is not something completely new to you. Okay. So if you see, GATE is what basically, it's a national level examination where subjects from your undergraduate level are picked up and you are tested on these subjects. Now, this examination is conducted for various fields like engineering, science, humanities, and of course, architecture as well. And on the basis of your GATE scores or on the basis of your ranking on the score that comes from these tests is where either you have a choice to go for master's or PhD or for your job into a PSU. Let's look at that also a little bit in detail. So now understanding GATE architecture a bit more in detail, if you see since the past few years, there has been an increase from 5,000 to approximately 10,000 students appearing for GATE, and then relatively around 9,000 appearing since the past 3 years. Okay, so roughly every year since the past 3 years, we have around 9,000 students who appear for this exam. Now, what are the benefits? So, first, primarily, either you could go for post graduation where you will be given a stipend for 12,400 per month. Now, which institutes are giving this? The ones who are affiliated with AICTE. Along with that, your IITs, SPAs, and NIT. If not post graduation, let's say you've already completed your post graduation and you want to pursue PhD, you could also apply for that through your GATE score. And in some cases, especially in architecture, a few PSUs, that is your public sector undertakings, right? The companies which are run by your government, they pick up candidates who have qualified GATE examination based on the candidate's rank and score. So it is helpful in your government jobs also or for PSUs. Other than that, when your state government conducts various government jobs related to architecture planning or your central government, like recently there was last Sunday, okay, 2 days ago, the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, had conducted an examination for assistant architect. So if you see, once you are thoroughly done with GATE, this is also going to help you if you want to prepare further for government jobs also. Now, what other things should you know about GATE? Primarily for the 2025 GATE, here you have the important dates you need to know, which institute is organizing it, the examination pattern, syllabus, what have been the previous year trends with respect to the weightage for subjects, let's say, and what is the score that you required or the range of score that you need to achieve in order to get into an IIT primarily. Okay, because if you see, your purely admit students on the basis only and only of their GATE score. Okay, so let's begin with the important dates and organizing institute. So this year or the 2025 GATE examination will be held by IIT Roorkee. The application for this examination begins on 24th of August. The last date without late fees for application is 26th of September. So you have roughly around a month for application. And they have also issued 4 tentative dates. So usually if you see the examination for all streams, right from architecture to engineering, humanities, etc., is held in the first or the second weekend of February. So the specific date for architecture is not out yet, but it would be either on 1st or 2nd or 15th or 16th of February 2025. Now moving on to the examination pattern and details. So if you see, the examination is of a total of 100 marks, where you have 15 marks for general aptitude, What is general aptitude? Anybody? What do we understand by general aptitude? Can I say it is your basic school level mathematics, speed, distance, time, or English, grammar, etc. related kind of questions? So that is for 15 marks. And remaining architecture and planning questions consist of 85 marks in total. Audible till here? Yes. So, okay, with respect to the exam pattern and details, so if you see the examination is for a total of 100 marks, and in this, if you see, you have 15 marks for general aptitude, which is basically your school level mathematics, that is your speed, distance, time, or English grammar, etc. kind of questions. And another 85 marks are for your architecture and planning related questions purely. Now, in terms of the typology of questions, if I have to say so, you can categorize the questions into four typologies. Primarily, recall, where basically you are expected to know some facts, some statistics, and here it is a test of your memory in the recall type of sections. Now, if you questions. Now, if you look at this question on the screen, is there any concept that you need to know for this question, or it's a purely factual question? Yes, of course, a factual question. Who is known as Gandhi of architecture? Either you know it or you don't know it. There is no concept, there is no added knowledge or nothing that you can apply here. So you have these kind of questions. Another category is comprehension type of questions. So these comprehension questions will test the candidate's understanding of the basics of his or her field. That is, the basics of architecture will be tested through comprehension type of questions. Right? So here you need to be very, very clear with your basic fundamentals or your basic conceptual clarity that we talk about is something that is primarily required here. So if you look at this question, in type A 101 building, the steel sphere as TMD is suspended to reduce horizontal sway due to, and you have four options. Now, horizontal sway in a building is going to be reduced or is going to be caused by which of the following is a basic concept, basic fundamental that you need to know, right? Then you have some application based questions. So in these questions, you are expected to apply the knowledge that you are using in your day to day life with respect to your field. Right. Now here, if you take this question on the screen, that in AutoCAD, the maximum number of OSNAP points are how many for a circle? So either it's 1, 3, 4, or 5. Now this is not given ever in any textbook. This is something we all know by practice when we use AutoCAD on a daily basis. So this is your daily based application, daily usage based application kind of questions. And you have a few analysis and synthesis kind of questions where you will be given some data or some diagrams, some images, and you are required to analyze that given data and then come to a conclusion. Now, in case of, if you look at this question, right? Maximum bending moment for a simply supported beam, uniformly distributed load, etc. Now, this is a typical data that they have given. You need to use your information, analyze what is actually expected from this question, what are you expected to answer, and then derive that answer accordingly, right? So, in these answer type of questions, you have in these analysis and synthesis kind of questions, you are expected to use your knowledge. Now, coming to the pattern of questions. Now, firstly, if you see the kind of questions or the way these four questions or four types of questions are asked is either through a MCQ format, MSQ format, or NAT format. Now, what is this pattern? MCQ is multiple choice question where you are given a question and there can be only and only one single correct answer. There cannot be another correct answer in a MCQ type of question. So now if I ask you this question, that which institute is organizing the GATE 2025 exam? So what is your answer going to be? Can we have two options here? Two answers correct? No. So it is going to be what? IIT Roorkee, right? Now, for a MCQ type of question, where there are questions which are of 1 mark and 2 marks. So we'll come to that a little bit in detail in the further slides. But for a 1 mark question, if you give a wrong answer, there will be negative marking for MCQ questions, where 1/3 negative marking will be done for a 1 mark question. And for a 2 mark question, you will have a 2/3 negative marking that will be done for MCQ questions. Coming to the MSQ questions, that is multiple select question. So here, whatever question is given to you, here you have more than one as correct answer. So it could be either 2 correct answers or 3 correct answers in this kind of a question. Now, if you look at the question on screen, which of the following is or are states in India? So I know Maharashtra is a state, Gujarat is a state, and Goa is a state. So here I have 3 correct answers, right? So that is your MSQ questions. Now for MSQ, there is no negative marking for a wrong answer. Also, there is no partial marking. Now, what do you understand by partial marking? Now, for example, if I take this example itself, that which of the following are states in India? Now, here, had I marked only Maharashtra and Gujarat, I know I've given the right answer. So, in this case, I will still get 0 marks because I have not given the complete answer. Is everyone clear with this? So there is no partial marking, there is no negative marking. Had I marked Mumbai as well, I would still get 0 marks. And the next is your NAT type questions, numerical answer type. So you are basically given some numericals and you will be asked, or you need to basically solve those numericals and type in the answer. Here usually uh, the options would not be given, and for these kind of questions where there is no option in a NAT exam, NAT type of question, here as well there is no negative marking. So if you see in the pattern for MCQ, MSQ or NAT type questions, it is only the MCQ type of questions which have your negative marking. Now coming to the marking scheme for this examination, you have your general aptitude, like I said, for 15 marks, where you have 5 questions of 1 mark each and another 5 questions of 2 marks. And for architecture and planning, now a few years ago, the syllabus had changed and the exam pattern had changed, where they have divided it into 2 parts, that is section A and section B. So section A is the common section, and from section B, it is divided into 2, that is architecture and planning, where you need to choose the set that you want to appear for. Either it could be either architecture, or you want to attempt questions related to planning. So in this case, if you see, your section A comprises of total of 60 marks, where you have 18 1-marker questions and 21 2-marker questions. So total of 39 questions for 60 marks. And in section B, so you choose either B1 or B2 as per your choice. Here you have 7 1-marker questions and 9 2-marker questions. So adding to 16 questions of 25 marks. Another thing that is, here you can also see the questions for architecture as well as planning, and then decide which one do you want to attempt. And as far as the syllabus is concerned, they've given a detailed breakup as well. So for aptitude, you need to understand your verbal aptitude, quantitative, analytical, and spatial aptitude. For the architecture and planning subject, so for part A, that is the common part, you have subjects from architecture planning, construction management, environmental planning, planning process, urban design, landscape, conservation, housing, services, and infrastructure. Part B1 of architecture, in section B, you have history of architecture, building structures, building construction, building services, and sustainability. And in part B2, you have regional and settlement planning, planning techniques and management, where basically you need to know about the new softwares, let's say for example GIS, how does it work, or other techniques related to planning, right from, let's say, your land use or land pooling, etc. What is TDR? All of these technical terms and techniques that are used. And infrastructure planning, basically all of your transportation planning. Now coming to the previous year trends, if you see, last year when IISc Bangalore had conducted the examination, the cutoff went up to around 41.5 for the general category, and the highest marks were 77 marks. Now this is a trend of the other previous years. So if you see, or if you analyze this as well, right, there is no fixed number as such. Another important thing is that it is not, uh, don't have this mindset that, okay, even if I just score above 41.5 or 42, I will get into IIT. No, that will not be the case. We'll just see it how and why. And if you see the previous paper analysis trends, you see a mix from all the subjects, right from architecture design to housing to history, services, transportation, planning, environment, construction management, all of these. So it is not that only one subject is given a priority or extra weightage. There is, the questions that we get in the examination are all well balanced out. Okay. Now we've seen the basics of your gate. We've understood what can be done or what is it exactly, etc. Now, tell me, till here, is everybody clear? And what are your thoughts? Is there some feeling that, okay, now how, if I want to start preparing today, what do I do? How should I go through it? How do I go about it? Yes, you all can just unmute and speak as well. Yes. What I just want to know, what is going on in your mind right now after looking at or just understanding the basics of the examination.
I have a question.
Yes.
So can you go to that slide for section A and section B? More previous.
This one?
Yeah. So, so for example, if I want to uh, apply for masters in urban and regional planning, is it necessary to attend the paper B two
No,
or?
you can still give paper B1 and take admission for masters in planning. Okay? Yes?
And when I was looking at the courses that IITs offer, related masters in architecture and any masters in designing field, so it was just showing two options of MArch and urban and regional planning. But sir was mentioning before some time that there are courses available regarding landscape and conservation also.
Yes, yes. I'll come to that a little bit later. Let just right now, my question is that is everyone clear with what I've discussed till now? I will address everybody's questions, okay, towards the end. And yes, also yours, Devanshi, with respect to landscape and everything. So don't worry about that. Okay. So I hope everyone's clear till here. And what I just want to know what is going on in your mind with respect to the examination, or uh, is it that okay, how do I start preparing? What do I do? Anyone?
Yes,
No?
ma'am. I have a question.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल प्रीवियस स्लाइड में आपने बताया था जैसे कि पेपर है हमारा आर्किटेक्चर और प्लानिंग दो सब्जेक्ट में रहता है। तो आर्किटेक्चर से अगर हम सेक्शन में जाते हैं तो उसमें कौन कौन से कैटेगरी रहेंगी हमारी मास्टर्स ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर के लिए, और प्लानिंग में कौन कौन सी कैटेगरीज रहेंगी हमारी मास्टर ऑफ आर्किटेक्ट के लिए, तो वो मैं जानना चाहता हूँ।
Okay, we will be
तो
having another session for the details of that as well. So don't worry about that right now. Okay, so you will, even if you give architecture paper, you can go take admission for a planning program of masters, or even if you attempt section B2 that is planning related, you can still take admission for masters of architecture. Okay, so with respect to the course details, I will come to it a little bit later, probably in another session. Fine. So now looking at all of this with respect to what is the trend or how is the examination. Now, if you see, let's have a quick look at how can we prepare even if you want to do self-study or otherwise. What should be your course of agenda for the next 6-7 months? So if you see, today is your August. So you have roughly another 5 months in hand and 1 month from 2025. Let's not consider February 2025. So in terms of a macro strategy, let what you can do is have an aim to finish off majority of your syllabus between August to November. Along with this, what you can also focus on is completing your subject-wise tests and previous year questions. The rest of the 2 months, that is your December and January, is something that you can dedicate only and only for revision and practicing of full length mock tests. And if you look at a detailed micro strategy, if I divide all of these, or if you look at these sections, right, that the syllabus has mentioned, if I just take these or go through the syllabus, also another important thing, please after this session, go download the syllabus, right? The link will be shared in your group as well. If you see, all of these can be converted or can be related to the subjects that we study in college in the 5 years or up to third year, fourth year. We've all gone through most of these subjects, right? So let's say your architecture planning design is going to comprise, of course, of your architecture design, computer applications. Then you have construction management, environment, urban design, landscape, conservation, planning, history, process, your services, climatology, structures, building construction materials, history, estimation and valuation, planning techniques, regional planning. Probably these might be a bit new to you, or even transport planning, but that's not much of an issue. The rest of it, I would say, is all subjects that we study in our course of graduation. Are all of you familiar with these names? Is any of it new, very new to you, or never heard of it? Yes? Yes, very pretty much familiar, right? So what I want to tell you is, please don't get overwhelmed or don't be scared with respect to, oh my God, this is so much, I don't know. Because see, you've studied it. Okay. What now for the exam you need to do is brush up and focus on what the exam demands. Another important thing is that while preparing, what we suggest is you focus on both of these, section B1 as well as section B2. Why? Because in this common section, if you see, you have planning here as well. And you get questions from planning also in section A as well as from core architecture. And when you're preparing, when you're studying, right, please study everything. And when you should, or when you will get some more clarity is during December, January, when you practice your mock tests. Or you will start getting a slight idea that, okay, I'm better at planning or better at architecture from your subject wise tests. But we suggest that please study everything because it is important, and these questions are asked in your section A as well. Now, coming to, let's say, your detailed strategy. Let's assume you start from the next week, that is your 19th of August. Now, history, we all know, is a large, vast subject, very time consuming also, right? But it's not new as well. What we can do, first eat the bigger frog. Means what? Whatever is more difficult, finish it off fast. So history, more vast, larger chunk. Let's finish it off in another 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks. After that, from 5th of September till 14th, another time period for your architecture and design, where you will also have to cover right from your basic design to universal design, etc. Environmental planning and design for another 5 days. These are small topics. Environmental topics are quite small topics and easy ones. So you can give it little less time as compared to architecture design or history of architecture. Then building construction, quite a vast subject, lots of things to study. So we can give it a little more time, roughly around 9 to 10 days. Now, if you see this Sunday, I've not written anything. What do I do? No, we can't just keep on scrolling on Instagram on Sundays. What we need to do is revise what you studied in the previous week. Go through it and revise again and again. So let's say that here from 2nd to 4th, I've studied history, and 5th to 7th, I've studied architecture and design in September. On the 8th of September, I revise what I have done in this week. And if I'm also able to revise what I've done before that, that is, let's say, from 19th to 31st of August, even better, right? So this way now, of course, when I'm revising the things I've studied in August, right, on 8th of September, they are going to be much easier for me to remember because I've revised them already 2 times, right, on the 1st of September and before that. Similarly, it goes out for all the subjects. Revise on Sundays, and let's say, suppose if some topic from BCM is left or some topic from architecture design is left in this week, okay? And now next week you're starting with environmental planning. Take out some time on the 15th of September and finish off that small topic. Don't leave it hanging. You will never complete it. Okay, and if things go on piling up, we all, as students of architecture, we love doing things in the end minute, but don't do that, at least for this examination. Yes, then another 5 days for landscape and conservation, small topics, easy topics. Then coming to a little heavier subject, let's say construction management, estimation and valuation. More of numericals, more of in-depth understanding is what is required here. Another 2 weeks for building services and climatology. Another vast subject, building services, right from lighting to acoustics to water supply, drainage, everything that you need to study, right? Escalators, elevators, all of that. Then in the last week of October, you can begin with regional planning and planning techniques. And the same goes for Sundays that use it only for revision. Coming to November, again, till 7th of November, here you start from 28th October till 7th of November, you go for regional planning and techniques. Another 5 days for building structures, where you have your numericals, basically, which are asked most of the time in GATE. 3 days for housing, I would say, are more than enough. Again, here the focus for housing is primarily your numericals and government schemes. Transportation planning, another 4 to 5 days. 4 days for urban design and 4 days for planning process. These are more of theory subjects, urban design or planning process, take either of them. Theoretical subjects, but very easy to understand. So these can be completed in 4 days. And same thing, weekends or Sundays for revision. Now, this strategy has been made keeping in mind that you are either a student or a working professional. Fine. Now, coming to December and January. Now, in December, your focus primarily should be on revision plus whatever is left in case. Maybe 1 or 2 topics were left from the previous 4 months of preparation or something of that sort, that you can finish off here with this revision when you're starting, right? What you can do otherwise, suppose let's say that in the previous 4 months you've not done any subject wise test. So in December, along with the revision, subject wise revision, you can go for a subject wise test. Plus again, go through PYQs. Now, because if you see, right here, you are going to get major time only on Sundays. You will also be doing revision. You will also be doing subject wise test. You will also be doing PYQs. Now, humanly, sometimes it could not be possible because we are all humans, right? So, in case if that gets missed out, some PYQs are left here, you can cover them up in December. And the month of January, again, revision plus give at least 15 mock tests. So let's say every alternate day you give a mock test. Then what do you do on the next day? Let's say I've given a test on 1st of January. I analyze it completely. I analyze where I went wrong, which one did I mark wrong, probably which is my weak subject. You will still identify these few things. You will realize that, okay, let's say that maybe housing, I'm getting good marks. I don't even need to look at housing till Feb. Let's say maybe urban design, I'm not getting such great marks. Probably I need to get more clarity about the concept. So this is what you will realize from these mock tests. So it'll be much better if you give them on alternate days, because give yourself some time to even analyze those, find out your mistakes and all of that. Okay. And now another important thing from this micro strategy is that be realistic about the planning. Now, what I have discussed till now is the ideal scenario. Okay, if I am, let's say, maybe doing a job, ideal scenario where I can, dedicate so much time. But let's say if you're a student, okay, you will have submissions, they are never ending. Maybe some semester exam comes, etc. So, what you need to do, even if you take this entire strategy as it is, you need to review it every week. Review it means what? Let's say that suppose, okay, here on 4th of November, I've planned that till 7th of November, I am going to finish off my regional planning and techniques. Now, let's assume, or maybe there is some semester exam that comes up or some major submission, and of course, no, we are at least informed about our submissions a few days prior, at least a week prior minimum, or 2 weeks, and semester examination much before. So when I am studying or when I'm planning, right, let's say that maybe landscape and conservation is a much smaller subject. What if I can finish it off only in 2 days? Okay, where I have more free time in October. When I have more free time, I'll finish off these subjects much faster. So that maybe regional planning I can start from 21st itself, 21st of October, and finish it off by 31st, or max, let's say, by 2nd of November. So this week, when I have my semester exam, I can give time for myself, for my examination as well, or for whatever submission is needed. So you need to be reviewing your plan of action, what you want to do or how you are going to proceed. Now this, again, you can use this strategy as well. You can alter it as per whatever suits you. This is no magic pill that if that if you are only going to listen, or if you say that, okay, I will give only so much days, and then I'm definitely going to clear the exam. No, you will have to review. You will have to understand and analyze where you are lacking, where you need to focus upon as well. Okay, so be realistic about your preparation, review your planning, right? Probably it could be your semester exam, or maybe some job, some client submission, or whatever it could be. Another important thing when I say be realistic, ठीक है, जोश जोश में तो we start studying very nicely. Oh, I have to crack, I have to get into IIT, etc. First day I will study for 10 to 12 hours. Second day probably it will go to maybe 5 hours. Third day 1 hour. Fourth day I don't know where the books are. This should not happen. So when you're preparing, have this gradual graph. Okay, not, let's say maybe today you study for 2 hours, tomorrow increase it by another half an hour. Next few weeks, after few weeks, increase it by another 1 hour. Now, depending upon your capacity. But please don't do this. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay. And coming to the range of scores that you require to get into IITs. So if you see last year, there were around 11,000 candidates who had registered for the exam. Only 9,000 appeared. And out of which only 2,050 have qualified. That is roughly around 22% candidates only have qualified this examination last year. And as far as the ranking is concerned, right? If you see this, now this score is on the basis of their marks out of 1,000. So basically when GATE issues, when your GATE scorecard comes, they issue it in terms of marks out of 1,000 as well, right? So if you see the candidates, right, there have been only 6 candidates who got score between 900 to 1,000. Another 19 candidates with score between 800 to 900. And then a few between 700 to 800, and then likewise. So now to get into IITs also, if you see, maximum up to a rank of 120 to 150 is a lot. 150 also I will say is a lot. Okay. But just to be more lenient, let's consider even 150. So if you see candidates between starting rank of 94 to 252. So roughly score between somewhere between 600 to 700 max is the last. So if you have a score below, let's say even 650 out of 1,000, chances of getting into IIT are more difficult. Rank of 120 to 150 is the maximum. Okay. Rank 1, 5, all of these will easily get in. Another interesting thing, last year when I had also attempted the examination with a rank of 44, you have the institutes mailing you and asking you to join their courses. So you have your IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras, Kanpur, all of them sending mails to candidates who get good ranks to come and join their institutes, right? So let us keep this aim that you at least need to get more than 700 marks out of 1,000 if we want to go for GATE, or sorry, if we want to go for IIT. Okay. And for this, we are launching the Samarpan batch that will be starting from the 17th of August, where we will be having classes 5 days a week starting from September. In the month of August, we will have classes on alternate days, and that will be from 8 to 9:30 p.m. So these classes will be conducted by GATE top rankers. All will be live classes, and you will also get a recording of these sessions where, of course, the classes are conducted on the new examination pattern, where the faculty will also be discussing strategies and tips and tricks with respect to how to solve questions, how to attempt questions where, let's say, you are not very sure, but you have a slight hint of what could be the correct answer. So all the faculty at Exam Assure are alumni from SPAs, IITs and NITs. Along with that, you will also be getting access to the 2024 GATE paper. With that, you will also have sectional tests, subject-wise sectional tests, as well as mock tests for full length. The classes will be conducted, will begin from 17th August and will go on till your mid-December to December end, considering your Diwali break and all of that. So for that, we have a launch offer where the course would be for 14,999. But since it's our Independence Day as well, we have a offer for the students who are also attending this lecture or this session right now, where you can scan this QR code and use the code Azadi to enroll in case if you're interested. So you will be getting all the details on your email once your enrollment is done. And this code works for the full payment and not for installments. There is another option for installment as well, but the code will not work for that. Okay, in case if anybody has any questions, you all may please ask now.